Hey everyone, Ryan Higgins here. Before we start the episode, just a quick note that before we started recording, we apparently didn't have Toby's microphone on. You do 208 episodes of this and you'd think I'd know what I was doing when we were set to record, but apparently not. So for about 20 minutes, you're not going to hear too much of Toby when he jumps in, but about the 58-minute mark or so, everything kicks on and you can hear him pretty well after that. So sorry for the poor quality on his audio there for a good 15-20 minutes, but hopefully should be able to make everything out. So thank you and enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 208 for the week of March 5th, 2015. My name is Ryan Higgins, who is here with me this week.
Just Brock Sager.
No!
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Toby.
That was Ryan screaming, goal!
No, I'm watching the Red Sox. They're up 2-0 in the top of the ninth, which means they're going to lose any minute now. No, hopefully, I pray to God Toby will be joining us very soon. This is the second worst podcast we'll ever record if it's just me and Brock, because that'll be bad. One day, though, Brock. One day.
It's a throwback episode.
No, one day this will happen, except you'll get a call at the last minute, and I'll have to do a solo show. And that's going to be frightening. That's going to be
You would do a solo show?
Sure, why not? I can blab. I blab myself all day long. I can blab to a microphone all day long. Anyway, I guess actually okay that we're here because we're going to recap some of the stuff we talked about last week in our Age of Ultron big spoiler cast. If you didn't listen to that, you're probably safe to go back and listen to last week's episode now because you hopefully saw Age of Ultron over the weekend. I know we're going to talk about the finale briefly talk about the finale of Gotham. Hopefully we can get through most of the stuff before Toby gets back because he didn't see Gotham yet. But
how much did Age of Ultron make?
Well, we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
I would say skip 20 minutes, 30 minutes ahead maybe if you do not want to be spoiled on Gotham or Age of Ultron. Hopefully we'll be done with that stuff in 20, 30 minutes. So no timestamp, just do it. You just listen to what we're talking about. You'll figure it out. So we saw...
Quicksilver dies.
Well, okay, we'll give people a little bit of time. We saw Age of Ultron on opening day. Actually,
yes.
The day before opening day.
We saw it in 3D on Monday.
Right.
And then we went back
on Thursday
at 7:45
for one of the early shows. Yep. Mm-hmm. And
apparently we missed the guy walking around the Captain America costume in the tights.
Huh?
A lot of people that went Thursday night that from around here that we know went to a later show.
Okay.
And there was some guy walking around in like a really bad Captain America like costume.
Oh, really?
Tight.
Nice.
And had the fake muscles.
That's always fun.
Bad.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, just checking the score. These guys got to win one, okay? Come on, Red Sox. You're killing me, man. Remember early April? Early April was so beautiful. What happened?
April ended?
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, so Age of Ultron. If you remember us talking about it last week, you may remember I liked it, but I had my issues with it. I will say that a good number of my issues...
About 80%.
No, less than that. I was in a much better mood seeing it this time, seeing it in 2D. The action was better. Knowing the backstory and how they were going to deal with Ultron and not having that trailer now in my head, I liked Ultron better. I didn't love him, but I liked him better. If it was a B when I saw it, or a B-, it's a B+ now. I don't think it's going to go up or down in my ranking. I got more out of it, but it's, oh my God, I can't even tell you how much better it was not in 3D. I could make out the action in the opening scene.
Yeah.
And that was...
I actually made out that it was the gauntlet in Loki's vision.
2-0 sucks. We win one.
With 4 of the gems in the skull. Like in 3D, I could barely make out what the hell that was.
No, I mean,
it was just weird.
I could see parts of it, but I had issues with so much of that 3D that you know what's happening, but your eyes couldn't process it properly. And if you like 3D and it worked for you, great. I mean, I don't know. I just have such problems with it.
Well, you're going to go back and watch it in 3D.
Well, I got my 2D glasses. I can't remember how much we talked about this when we recorded. Had I already ordered them? I don't remember if I ordered them or not.
No, I think we talked about them because we talked.
Oh, because you guys talked about the other.
We talked about the Vlogbrothers.
Right. So I got my 2D glasses. So now, having seen the movie in both 3D and 2D, I'm going to go back with my 2D glasses and go and watch this movie again. Yeah, in a couple weeks, it'll die down a little bit. I'll try to go to like a morning show when it's a little cheaper. And I'm totally going to see how that works, and I will report back because I'm very excited for this because so many of these previews, these sneak previews we've gone to, have all been in 3D.
If we go to Star Wars, it could be in 3D.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man probably
Batman,
not.
Superman.
Batman v Superman probably is going to be in 3D because Man of Steel was in 3D.
Yeah. So, again, elements of it I liked better just because I think I was in a better mood, and so I like the movie better. Is it better than the first? Still, no. Is it? I don't remember if we did like a ranking last time, but I still think it's probably going to be number 5 on my list.
I think for most people to be in the top 5.
It's in the top half.
Yeah, it's in the top half.
Yeah, and again, not that the bottom half is bad. It's like, all these movies.
Well, it's Avengers set a bar, right?
Yeah.
And then Winter Soldier set a bar. And then Guardians set another bar.
Yeah,
so it's like
different bars.
Bars. So I think this Age of Ultron doesn't quite hit the Avengers bar, but it's close. It's not like it's not like drastically different. It's fair.
It's still too much of the same. It doesn't do anything different. Where I think Cap 2 did, I think Thor 2 did.
But you also have to forgive it a little because how can you really do a team movie much different? I mean, that formula works. I mean, we got a good exposure to all the characters during the movie. He gave us a little more of Hawkeye and a little more of, Black Widow, like Banner, characters, and Banner, like characters that we wanted to see more of in the first one. And he toned down the other guys a little bit. So it was kind of like, I think if you watched Avengers and Age of Ultron back to back, it would just be awesome because it's just this, it's a nice chunk of Avengers.
I think if you watch them back to back, it would show just how much of the second movie is a repeat of the first movie. Oh, yeah. So, but is it bad? No, I still like it. I still like it a lot. But it, is it Dark Knight? Does it take it to the next level? Is it Guardians? Does it make me laugh and not find it too forced? I found this humor still forced. Yeah. It's funny, and I caught a few more of the jokes that I missed the first time because people were laughing or whatever. But it is still a little too comedic for Avengers, especially given the subject matter. Guardians, the lightheartedness worked for me better, But I mean, a lot of this is nitpicks. It's still a fun movie, and I really liked it.
It's still amazing. I mean, go watch it. It's great.
Yeah, we will say a few things here. That it is the number 2 opening of all time, with $191 million weekend gross domestic, bringing the worldwide total as of the recording to $643 million.
Oh, geez,
which is a lot of money. Will it hit
the billion mark?
It'll hit $1 billion. Yeah. Will it hit what Avengers 1 did? Probably not. I was thinking it could surpass it, and I think people haven't liked it as much as the first one. I think if people liked it better, it would do that. I don't think we're going to get the double, triple, quadruple viewings that people did on the first one.
Yeah.
It didn't review as well. People I know seem a little split on it. It's not. No, I don't know anyone that hates it. Let me rephrase that. If you want to just hate the internet more than you already do, just go read all this crap about Joss Whedon and Twitter and Black Widow and all this stuff. And I hate it so much. I don't even want to talk about it in the podcast. But there is a large... Let me rephrase that. There is a very small segment of fans that are very vocal in their dislike of this movie over certain aspects. And I don't recall the first one having this. So... I don't see this having quite the same repeat viewing the way Guardians did, the way Winter Soldier did, especially the way the first Avengers movie did. So I don't expect it'll do quite as well. That said, it'll still be one of the highest grossing movies of all time. It's
Disney,
nothing more.
Disney and Marvel Studios are still making money.
It is nothing more than one of the greatest success in cinematic history. I mean, the thing is, when you get so high up, you have to compare like movies. And is this Titanic or Avatar or Avengers or Harry Potter? No, it's not going to hit those numbers. But it's still going to be one of the most successful movies that will ever be made. So I guess it's still a huge win for everyone involved.
Well, it's a huge success, and it's a good movie.
It's a fun movie. It is a very fun movie. Yeah, I think the first Avengers is a great movie. Yeah. I think this is a fun, good movie.
Now, I think they would have surpassed their numbers if they had sold a statue of the Avengers versus Ultron at the end.
Yeah,
if they had sold a color version of that, they were just standing there outside after you left the theater, and they said, "Hey, do you want to buy this?" Because I would buy it.
I might. I mean, there's still big parts of the country world this hasn't opened in, and we'll obviously get multiple, $50 to $80 million weekends on this. Yeah. We'll probably get at least a couple. It'll pass $300 million here this weekend, or maybe not. It'll get close. It'll pass 400 domestic easily, I would assume. Yeah. This is going to be a huge movie, and obviously a great lead in the summer for Disney and Marvel. So, Ant-Man still kind of the question mark. I think it's going to be well. I think my assumption is post Guardians, everyone that was like, well, Ant-Man, I don't know. I think a lot of people were like, no, okay, I think they can pull this off now because they pulled it off with Guardians. Will it do Avengers numbers? Will it do Guardians numbers? No, probably not, but it'll be a success.
Yeah. And I think I think Ant-Man also depends on buzz. If Ant-Man's a really, really good movie, I think you'll see more people going to it after opening weekend.
If the buzz is totally, crap on it and people don't like it, then I could see it. Again, it'll still be a very successful movie because it has that Marvel stamp on it.
It's not going to hit the numbers that Avengers hits.
No, but will it do well? Will it do Cap or Thor or Iron Man 1 numbers? Yeah, absolutely. Will it do Iron Man 2 or Thor 2 or Winter Soldier numbers? Maybe. It might. It could. It definitely could. So we'll see.
Every Marvel movie that's needs to beat Iron Man 3 numbers. That's
so few movies have done that. I think Avengers is the only one, right? And it's
Guardians didn't beat Iron Man 3?
No. I believe talk for a minute. Let me find this here, but give us your thoughts on seeing it a second time. Let me actually pull up here because I believe the top 3 opening weekends of all time are
Harry Potter.
No, Avengers, Avengers 2 and Iron Man 3.
That might be it. No, second viewing through, the 3D was big problem for me, but going through and seeing it again and seeing kind of scenes laid out, we talked about the I was like, when the hell did Banner get to Black Widow? And I was like, oh, that's because the sequence before where they're doing the evacuation stuff, Cap's talking while they're in the Quinjet. His speech is being narrated over scenes of them evacuating people. There's one random scene of Thor and Banner busting into the underground part of the castle, and then we go back to the Quinjet at some point. So it's this back and forth with cutting and stuff like that. So then we're like, oh, okay, that explains it a little bit more.
Yeah. Real quick, just skip here. Avengers 207 opening domestic weekend, 207 million. Avengers Age of Ultron 191. Iron Man 3 174. Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 at 169 million. Dark Knight Rises at 160 million. Dark Knight at 158 million. Hunger Games Catching Fire at 158. Hunger Games at 152. Spider-Man 3 at 151. And Furious 7 at 147. So a lot of comic book movies in that top opening weekend list. So, yes.
Comic books make people money.
Oh, yes.
When they're in movie format.
Yes, they do. And TV shows.
And TV shows.
They also did 27.6 million opening Thursday night, which has to be the highest. I believe that's the highest.
Thursday.
I could be
how
wrong.
early were tickets being?
7 o'clock.
It was 7 o'clock was the earliest?
I believe so. Jeez. Yeah. So I believe that's the highest. But yeah, find out. So overall, I think we all kind of liked it.
Ultron if you haven't watched it, but if you've listened to this already, you've watched it. So.
Yeah. Overall, I think we all kind of liked it a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm going to go one more time with hopefully my dad and my stepfather.
Now, there's
my father-in-law.
Oh, yeah. Now, there's definitely a few other big news stories this week, comic movie stuff, but I did want to talk briefly about the finale of Gotham. Me and Brock, we all saw it last night. I know people there's kind of mixed reaction to Gotham. Some people love it, some people hate it. I know Toby finds it very boring. Overall, I've enjoyed it. I think there's misses on the show. There's things but you have to look at it like you look at anything else. This is not Batman. This is not the comics. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
The lead up into the finale, kind of the plot, if you haven't been following it, James Gordon has become a one-man on crime in Gotham City. In fact, to the point where someone made a comment of, why do they need Batman? Because Gordon's just going to take down all the criminals, which I thought was pretty funny. We have kind of the crime families falling apart. We have Fish Mooney, if you remember her. She ends up off on some fucking island of Dr. Moreau with what was a doll maker? Yeah, Dollmacher, Dr. Dollmacher. Being taking over that island. Penguins are going up the ranks. Bruce and Selina are being little BFFs, and Alfred gets shot or stabbed. Right, Alfred gets stabbed and ends up in.
Selina kills some dude.
Well, Alfred gets stabbed by a guy that works for one of the heads of Wayne Enterprise, and is trying to kind of, I'm assuming, get Bruce out of the way in some fashion. We're introduced to
Lucius Fox.
Lucius Fox, thank you.
That was awesome.
He's cool. Yeah, I mean, we don't really know a ton about him, but he seems to be more on Bruce's side. And
it wasn't overplayed. It was, he came in. He wasn't even a top dog at the company.
No, yeah, he's some low level
employee or whatever.
But he knows.
The type of person that Bruce's father was.
Well, he knows that his father had a secret. So, a lot of people are like, modern comics. I don't know where they're going to go with this, and we'll talk about the finale in a second. But in the comics, there is a precedence of Thomas Wayne being Batman before Bruce Wayne was Batman, involved in crime fighting in various aspects. Now, these are told in weird flashbacks and weird alternate tales and stuff, but this is not the first time we've maybe been led to believe there is more to Thomas Wayne. Even Morrison in the R.I.P. story in the more recent arcs hinted around this and that there was other stuff going on. Now, personally, I don't like that. I don't like it when they hint at the parents. This is like the Peter Parker thing in Amazing Spider-Man where, Ben Parker was doing...
spies.
Or not Ben. Ben Parker's his father,
Ben Parker and...
no, Uncle Ben. What the hell's his name?
I don't know what his
name is. Oh, man, I totally blanked on his father's name.
Our Spider-Man fans are hating us right now.
Oh, my God, this is killing me.
I don't remember. You have the computer.
What's his name? Oh, I'll look it up in a second. But yeah, that the parent, there's more involved. I hate that shit. Mom and Pa Kent are just Mom and Pa Kent. The Waynes were just good people. But
I think it
depends on how.
Depends on what they're doing. I mean, it's if he's out there, not necessarily punching people in the face or fighting crime or whatever, but he's secretly working on taking down or closing these places.
Richard Parker.
Parker.
Thank you, Internet. Saved me.
If he's working on taking down these bad businesses or whatever, through legal means or paperwork and crunching numbers and stuff like that, I can understand that aspect of it. But going out and being, a vigilante like his son becomes, that's a little too ridiculous.
No, I agree. So in the finale, let's kind of do a checklist off of where everyone gets left off. Maroni, right? Who is one of the crime bosses, who's also Batista on Dexter, if you remember. Agent Batista. Angel Batista, right? That's his name. Yeah. He gets shot and killed by Fish Mooney after she comes back off the island with a ragtag group of. Well, I guess we'll start with Fish. Fish escapes from the island with a group of
lands
people.
On some place in Gotham where you can land a boat.
Lands on the shore,
and then walks up to a trash can that Selina's standing at.
Recruits Selina Kyle,
but that's not even recruition. They say a couple words and then she walks away.
Yeah,
there was no recruiting. That was an issue I had with this.
Well, it feels like to me that here comes Toby. Hopefully, he doesn't mind a couple spoilers. It feels like to me. Fish is just people know her, so they're like, "Oh shit, Fish is back. Let's just join up with her."
Yeah,
Toby, we're gonna spoil. We're in the middle of spoiling Gotham finale. You wanna wander the store and pick your books or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where we end up with that. Catwoman, Selina joins her, despite who knows kind of why
and apparently she went shopping to a hair. Went to shopping to a hairstylist.
Got a bunch of ear piercings or something.
Ear piercings and like those studs on her skull, and she's all. I don't even
punked out.
It's punk Hot Topic out, but weird. More of the expensive Hot Topic. I don't know if that thing exists.
So she comes back. She kills Maroni, who was one of the guys that she was going up against. The other guy retires. The other major gang leader retires. Falcone retires. Penguin.
This is King of Gotham.
Yeah, he pulls a Titanic, and he's now King of Gotham.
Well, what's great is he throws fish into ice cold water apparently, and then he pulls a Titanic.
Right. He fights with fish on a it's like a rooftop or something.
It's the top of a warehouse.
But
it's on the waterfront.
Right on the water. But then they get into a big fight, and he throws her off the side into the water. I mean,
she's probably not dead.
Of course, right? I mean, I wish I got a few things to say about the show when we're done here, but we'll kind of get through the major beats. So Penguin is now king of the crime family in Gotham. Riddler, who in the previous episode, 2 episodes ago, 3 episodes, something like it was a couple episodes ago.
2 episodes ago because he was dealing with it last episode.
Right. He kills the abusive boyfriend of Miss Kringle, his little love at the GCPD, and then goes totally insane at the end of this episode, hearing voices and just cracks.
It's hearing voices of people saying things to him, ridiculing him, and then it's two different voices in his own head. It's the whimpering Riddle Man, right?
Yeah,
and then there's the Riddler character, or the Riddler persona, or the actual.
It's not like a split personality, but he's definitely starting to crack.
Yeah,
and then. What's supposed to be maybe kind of the bigger shock is the Lost-like finale of Season 1, where...
Well, no, you forgot Barbara.
Oh, that's right. Barbara hooks up with a serial killer and then kills her parent.
The ogre.
And then...
That was the 2 episodes prior.
Yeah, doesn't stop him from killing her parents, goes totally insane... and then gets her head smashed into the ground multiple times after
Gordon's current girlfriend.
Yeah, Leslie Tompkins. After she tries to attack Leslie, and then she beats the shit out of her. Mm-hmm. Leslie beats the shit out of Barbara, and then she's going to be Harley Quinn or something like that?
No. If she's Harley Quinn, this movie, this TV show sucks.
She goes insane at the end of this season, so we have no idea what they're doing with that.
We talked about this earlier, but the person that I could see being Harley Quinn is Miss Kringle.
Maybe
look-wise, she's almost.
She looks like Harleen Quinzel.
Yeah.
Yes, the alter ego of Harley Quinn.
Now, what would be great is if they had a Halloween episode and she dressed up as a jester and it looked like Harley Quinn. Now that I'll take.
Okay, that'd be cool. But then we do get like I said, this Lost reveal of they find out that there was a hidden compartment in the Wayne Manor and it's behind the fireplace. And in a very Lost-like ending, it just opens up and it just it's like stairs going down and blackness, right? And that's the season. So, is there a Batcave down there already that little Bruce can start to play around with? That
at this point we should just stop calling it a Batcave and just call it the Wayne Cave.
Right. So again, I've had some issues with this show. I think the showrunner Bruno Heller, who I believe he may have written more episodes, but I know he wrote at least the first 2. He wrote the Joker Kid episode, and he wrote this episode. He is terrible. He is a terrible writer. If he is responsible, because I have no problems with the other episodes the way I have the problems with his episodes. He writes a really cheesy dialogue. I hate Fish when he writes Fish. I hate her. She was there are cool parts in this episode, but I feel like he's on a totally other path than everyone else involved with the show, and he's the showrunner, which worries me.
Fish. When we first see Fish when Gotham opens, okay, it's a crime boss. It's a lower level boss working her way up.
She was
right. I get it. We need characters like that because this isn't a Batman villain. This is a Gotham.
Yeah, she's always been too over the top, but he really cranks up. He cranks it up with everyone, and it doesn't work with me at all.
Maybe that's why Barbara went from whatever to blah.
Well, right, in this one episode. I mean, she was cracked and crying and broken in the previous episodes, and you could tell something was going to happen. But in this one, she goes full on like Joker fish. Like, she goes crazy in this episode. And it doesn't feel true to what they had done before. Again, I have no idea. If he wrote other episodes, maybe I just missed it, and maybe they were awful. I have no clue. But I mean, it feels like when
he was actually emulating the good writers and trying to follow their style.
I don't know. When I see his name as the written by episode, I'm like, uh-oh, now. Because it's happened, because when he did the Joker episode, I was like, uh-oh, and I did not like that episode at all.
The Joker episode was okay. It wasn't great. It was better than the pilot episode and maybe the second episode. But, yeah, there are definitely those, there are weaker episodes than others in the show. And I think, his name's connected to the ones that are weaker. But he's
a showrunner. That's not how it should be.
Well, like, that's the thing is, like, remember when we watched the first episode and we were kind of like, okay, like, we were excited because it was Gotham. We were excited because we saw this world. But, like, we didn't really, like, we were excited for Penguin.
Well, I think third or fourth episode, everything clicks and suddenly they're using cell phones and talking normally, and GCPD isn't like some fucking clown factory. Like, it got normal, and then every now and again it kind of goes back. But then in this episode, I swear to God, the only time you ever see that weird-ass jail cell in the precinct
being used as his episodes?
Are his episodes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he is the worst part of the show. Like, get this dude the fuck out. Get someone that knows comic books in there and that doesn't write like a shitty Dick Tracy villain. And this show could be really good.
Hell, I would take Dan Slott on it over him.
Oh, I'd take anyone over him. Like, it has to be him. I cannot point to any other reason.
You wouldn't take anyone?
I take nearly anyone.
Okay.
Nearly anyone. As long as you don't work for Big Bang Theory, I'll take you. Okay.
Because it's not. Was it Mark Millar?
Well, he doesn't work in Hollywood. He wishes he did, but he doesn't work in Hollywood. Oh, snap. So, yeah. I mean, okay, finale. I'm really curious to see where they go with season 2. Drop the showrunner. Never let him write anything again. He's terrible.
I mean, the ending of the first season was good. It wasn't a cliffhanger, but it was a nice kind of what's going to happen next.
Well, here's the problem. It totally would have been a cliffhanger if they didn't show that in the trailer for the last, 3 episodes.
Yeah, I know.
They showed the ending scene over and over, and you think there's going to be more to it. And it's like, no, that's just where it ends. I'm like, oh, okay, you already showed us the finale. And they did it with the Joker episode, too. They show the fucking laugh.
Him grinning at the end,
in the trailer. And I'm like, you're blowing your end of the episode. If this is supposed to be a shock, you've already shown us. Yeah. So stupid.
Yeah, I mean, when TV shows do that, TV shows do that a lot more than movies do. But when they do, it's like, really?
Yeah. So this is actually just about perfect timing because it's been like 27 minutes. So hopefully you guys haven't missed too much. But we're going to go straight and talk about more spoiler stuff. So if you're just behind on stuff, now I have not had a chance to read it yet. But Brock, you read Batman number 40.
I read Batman number 40.
And you have generally been a fan of Batman.
Yes, I have.
You did not like this issue.
It's not that I didn't like this issue. I could definitely see that this issue was rushed.
Well, let's give away, quote unquote, the big deal about this issue, which is
apparently Batman and Joker are dead.
Right. Here is what happened. When this issue came out last week, I picked up the issue, I flipped through it, and I said, okay, well, nothing happens in this issue, and I put it down. And then the day goes by, all these people start talking about it. Toby's like, why the hell did we talk about Batman and Joker getting killed in Batman 40? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Because it's a joke.
They didn't get killed.
Because it's a joke.
Well, I mean, literally, this is the least possible outcome is that these characters are dead at the end of this issue. Yeah. I've loved Batman and Snyder. I'm a little back on it, so I haven't read through the Endgame stuff. I've only read the first 2 parts so far. But I've overall enjoyed a hell of a lot what Snyder did. I'm really looking forward to what's coming next, which we'll talk about in a second. But I picked up the issue. I go, okay, they're punching each other. They both knock out, and now they're unconscious. One of them will wake up. I'm sure Joker will leave, and Batman will go into hide. Batman will slink back to the Batcave.
Well, he just hibernates until somebody finds him.
They're not dead. I mean, Superman Doomsday fight. Okay, people are witnessed They check them. They believe they're dead. Okay, I believe that they're dead in that case, right? You push Fish Mooney off a cliff. It's very akin to the first appearance of the Joker, which Joker's pushed off into the water. Oh, he survived the sharks eating him, right? Can Fish Mooney survive? Absolutely. But if they say she's dead, okay, I believe
you
it.
ready for it? Ra's al Ghul stabs Arrow through the chest.
I believe.
Pushes him off the fucking cliff.
Well, at some point they're gonna have to be like, oh yeah, there was a little bit of that. There was a little bit of the
Lazarus pit down there.
Juice
yeah.
In whatever
the Dionysus chemical or whatever that they were talking about in this arc is it has healing properties and
sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I'm reading this Batman 40, I mean, when you're reading that, do you read they are both dead in that scene?
It's
because I went through it and I'm looking at it and I'm reading those pages.
It's supposed to be read as if yes, they did die, but if you've read the issue,
Joker doesn't die.
Well,
ever,
and you
right?
no, and you look at the note that Bruce left Alfred, right? It's the joke. It's a joke, right? It's
right.
It's ha. That's his note. Is ha. Like it's a joke. Right, he's not dead yet. No. Especially since Snyder's established what Batman world we're most likely going to end up getting, which is where Bruce clones himself over and over again and again and again and just has a new Batman.
We'll see about that. Right. But this led to, kind of what I legitimately feel is the much bigger deal, because these characters are clearly not dead. And this is spoiled weeks ago. I think we may have briefly mentioned, I can't even remember anymore, but in the Free Comic Book Day, which came out this last Saturday, was Divergent, which showed the new kind of story arc for Justice League Batman and Superman. And it introduced the new Batman, this kind of robot bunny mech thing that was running around.
It literally looks like a mech from Donnie Darko.
Yeah. In the suit is the new Batman. The new Batman is Commissioner Gordon. A very younger-looking Commissioner Gordon.
Despite, we shaved your head, but he still looks like way younger.
Shaved his head, took off his mustache. Didn't they take off his mustache?
They took off his mustache. They
took off the glasses.
They made him look like a military guy.
He looks much younger, which is fine. I mean, you could do that. And they've de-aged everyone in the New 52, so I have no problem with Gordon being a little bit younger.
Maybe it was an after effect of all the Joker toxin.
Maybe. So, yeah, Gordon is in this new Batman mech suit, which I think is awesome. Like, I am down with this.
No,
it'll be a year or 6 months or whatever.
I think Gordon taking over the mantle is a great twist. Like, who would take over the mantle in the New 52? Well, obviously not Grayson.
Can't be Nightwing.
Because he's already done it. So, he did it back with...
Well, in current continuity, he couldn't do it.
Yeah, in current continuity, he couldn't do it. So, who do you have? They're too young. It's not Damian. It's not Tim Drake. It's not Jason Todd. None of these people could fill the mantle.
I think that's exactly why it's Gordon.
Yeah. But, I thought, it's a cool idea. I'm really, really curious now to see where they go with it. But, I'm very excited. They're not dead.
No, of course not.
Joker and Bruce aren't dead.
And actually, we should talk about both Superman and Justice League, because there's pretty big status quo shifts to all of these characters. In Superman, Lois Lane, who is not dating Superman or Clark Kent and just his friend, but she being a reporter, has outed... She figures out that Clark Kent is Superman. And in the last issue, you kind of know about it. In the Divergent issue, she's already outed him.
Yeah.
So at some point in between, there's an unpublished story where she outs him as Clark Kent, and now he has shaved his head and he's gone back to the jeans and t-shirt looked, and he also totally lost a bunch of his power. Well, as part of the exploding his new
it's his solar flare.
Yeah, he
he's like an EMP or something.
It's like if you're a fan of the Fantastic Four comics, the Human Torch will occasionally go supernova, and then it burns him out completely.
Yeah. Same thing with Superman.
So when he uses up this solar flare power thing, he sort of gets down to his can only leap over tall buildings. And
it depends on how much he uses, but he can go to being human-like,
almost mortal.
Yeah, almost mortal. Right. He can go to mortal, but when he starts getting his powers back, they don't come back full bore. It's he can only leap over tall buildings.
Right.
And that twist is cool. It's awesome. Why would you use that power?
Absolute, worst case scenario, he uses it, right? That's the whole point of it. It's a sort of ultimate power to get out.
I think it would just piss. I just think it would piss Doomsday off.
Well, we'll see. The third one, though, oh man,
okay, I haven't read the Divergent part of it.
Okay, that's fine. But you read Justice League 40.
Yes, I read.
Okay, you don't. It doesn't matter. The Divergent part doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it's not. It doesn't matter to what the main story is. If you hate the New 52, you need to pick up Justice League number 40. Because while I have no problem with the New 52 and like many aspects of it actually, and Justice League being one of the best parts of it, Jeff Johns has presented a very interesting story in Justice League 40. We are given Metron, one of the new gods. You may know him. He floats around in this Mobius chair, which, remember that. We'll come back to that in a second. He is not of... I actually don't know if he's
a new god.
No, he's a new god, but I don't know if he's actually from New Genesis or Apocalypse. I think he's actually from... He may be from New Genesis.
He's from New Genesis, but he goes back and forth.
Well, he is like the neutral character in the New God world. He's
the Watcher.
He is. He is not on either side. He's basically there.
He has a big chair, not a big head.
Right. He's just kind of there to see what's going on. He is traveling between dimensions and confronts the Anti-Monitor. The Anti-Monitor, who Metron makes reference to. The Anti-Monitor, if you don't know, is the original bad guy from Crisis on Infinite Earths, one of DC's first big event comic back in the 80s that caused all their universes to collapse down into one universe, and then they expanded it back again during Zero Hour and Infinite Crisis, and they collapsed it down during New 52 and Flashpoint, and now it's expanded back open again. This always happens. But Metron...
The DC universe is like an accordion.
Yeah. Metron finds the Anti-Monitor, who's ravaging another world, having, as we know from Forever Evil, having destroyed the Earth...
It's the Crime Syndicate world.
So he finds him.
Which they've been hinting at him coming...
Since then.
Since, like, that time. So we knew the Anti-Monitor was coming into it, but now we finally get to see it.
And so not only does Metron imply that at one point the Anti-Monitor had his job, he also names him. He calls him by his name, Mobius. Mm-hmm. If you ever wondered why... Again, Jeff Johns, so genius. Why can't there be other colored rings? Oh, of course. If Sinestro has a yellow ring, there could be all these other colors. Genius.
Wait a second. What is Roy G. Biv?
If Metron had a chair, wouldn't it be called Metron's chair? No, it's called the Mobius chair. Why is it called the Mobius chair? Because a person named Mobius had it before. Who had it before? Sure, it's the Anti-Monitor. We don't know why yet, but we'll find out, I'm sure.
Because he doesn't have an origin, and apparently we're getting an origin.
Right. So the Anti-Monitor, formerly a new god, and his name is Mobius. And he had the Mobius chair. That's genius. I love this stuff. This is why I read comic books. When I read that, I would stood up in my house by myself and was just like, this is incredible. My mind just exploded. This is why I read comic books. This is one of the I love this.
Well, and this is the thing. And another thing I respect about that issue is it was drawn by 6 or 7
the
creators.
Best people at DC too.
And the thing is the art didn't hinder from page to page. It was a nice flow of art.
Well, here's what happened. So they had a bunch of different artists do this book. They had Kevin Maguire did the first handful of pages where were introduced, who did a very big run on Justice League International in Europe back in the 80s, and is still a great artist today. There's a 2-page splash page that recreates Crisis on Infinite Earths. Mm-hmm. That was done by Phil Jimenez, who is a very much a George Perez influenced artist who did the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. Then you get the 0 Hour page, which is done by Dan Jurgens, who did 0 Hour. Mm-hmm. You get the Infinite Crisis page. Or wait, maybe I have that backwards. I don't have the book in front of me. Well, you had 0 Hour, you had Infinite Crisis. Maybe Infinite Crisis was Dan Jurgens. No, we're out of it.
Oh, we sold out?
Yeah, I don't have any more copies. I'm going to have to go pull my copy. And then you had Scott Collins did the Flashpoint one, which is Scott Collins. It was the Flash artist on Johns' Flash run. And then you have Jim Lee does the New 52 pages, and then he does the back half of the book as well. So he does a number of pages in the end. So the artists are all very accurate to the times they represent. And if you go on my Twitter, Ryan Higgins Ryan, scroll back through a couple days worth of bullshit, you can find...
It's good to know you know exactly what's on your Twitter feed.
I know. Or you can go on Jeff Johns, who has a bunch of less bullshit on his page, or Brian Cunningham, I believe is his name, who's the DC Comics editor for Justice League, or Phil Jimenez's page, or...
okay, you've given people enough place
or Scott Snyder's page, because they're all involved in this conversation. It was so good. I actually asked them, I asked Phil Jimenez and Johns, do you have the unlettered page in color of that Crisis page, the Phil Jimenez, because it is fucking amazing.
Well, everyone's going to see it, because that's what you're going to put up as the...
Oh, I should. Maybe that'll be the image.
As the image for this week.
So, no, I haven't. No, it's going to be a different one. Maybe I will. So they actually, after a couple days, the editor replied, and Johns was like, "Oh yeah, go ask him." And then he sent me a letter, and he goes, "Yep, here it is." And it got retweeted and linked a ton of different places. So there's unlettered, like total wallpaper style part of that unlettered full color. You could see all the characters because the letterboxes covered a bunch of the small characters. Awesome page. Totally go look for that if you like that 2-page splash. So super happy we got that. Very excited. But the bigger implication of this story is that these crises and worlds coming and going have actually weakened the universe as a whole. Even though it keeps getting rebuilt, but it's not being very strong to the point where...
It's not solidifying.
To the point where the current universe, the New 52 universe, has not solidified yet, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for changes coming up and things to maybe some things go back the way they used to be, or if you just wish certain things could be ignored and never talked about again, or dumped off continuity, we now have a story that will tell you exactly how that's going to happen. So Justice League 40... prelude to Darkseid War, Darkseid versus Anti-Monitor.
Well, and
could also have very big repercussions for people that are not fans of the New 52. So definitely check that issue out if you.
You didn't say who arrives at the end.
And this is what goes into the Divergent issue. We finally after 4 years we get Darkseid's daughter. Grail is her name, and then her origin is told in the Divergent issue.
Oh, okay.
So kind of her backstory, and she is half Amazonian. The
Darkseid, you.
Oh yeah,
you rapist, you.
The Darkseid War is a Wonder Woman story.
Shh, we can't say that.
No, we can't.
You can't market that.
Why?
It has to be a Justice League or Batman. And we can't market if it says Wonder Woman.
It's in Justice League. It's not an animated movie. You can call it whatever you want. It's in Justice League, but it is a Wonder Woman story. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a big book. I'm very, very excited for Darkseid War. So there you go. Very excited.
And if you're looking for that digital combo pack of Batman 40, it's what, $50?
30, 40, something like that.
It dropped a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, all those combo packs. People don't realize how low the print run on that stuff is. The print run's tiny, and the Batman 40.
And they're considered a variant cover, not.
Oh yeah, they are. They are. I have of the 40 issues of Justice League, I have like 120 comic books out of those 40 issues.
I think you have more.
No, it's not 120. It's a lot. I mean, I have a lot.
Well, they had 2 issues for almost 20 issues.
No. I mean, I have all 40 of the
regular, but the first 20 issues they had 2 copies each.
Oh, they had more than 2 copies.
I know, but
they've all had 4 or 5 covers, and I don't have all of them because I don't have too many of those 1 in 100 variants. But I got all the rest. I may have close to 150, maybe 160 copies of Justice League between those 80 issues.
You fill a long box.
40 issues, so it's going to be a big chunk of a long box. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to pull it all out and just lay on it. Just cover myself with it. It'd be great. Toby, you want to talk about some Suicide Squad? Is he ready?
I don't know. He's been wandering around.
Toby pulled his books. He's ready. He's ready to record a podcast.
Hello.
Whoa, what the fuck?
He just got shocked. Are you all right?
Yeah, that was weird.
The mic just bit him, I think.
The mic was live.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. You're here to save us from an awful 2-man cast. It's all good. Sometimes you go back to the way it was.
He screamed no for a good 10-15 seconds.
Yeah, when it's just Brock. It's no!
Who?
Me.
Oh.
No.
I would do that too.
I know.
So, David Ayers.
Yes.
Director of the Suicide Squad movie.
Yes.
Over the weekend posted Get ready.
The whole cast.
Yeah, including 3 unrevealed characters in the cast. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Now we didn't really talk about the Joker.
We didn't talk about the Joker tat image that came out last week.
Yeah, because we were...
Or like the weekend before.
It was before Avengers, and we did Avengers and all that stuff. People's opinions are all over the place on that. I think he looks fine. Is he going to look exactly like that in the movie? No, I'm sure it'll be covered up during a good portion of it, but whatever. I don't hate it. People do. Some people do. I don't know. Real quick, what do you guys...
I mean...
As a tattoo
As
fan,
a tattooed person, I mean...
Are you okay with it?
I'm fine with it as long as it works for the character. Like,
Does this speak to you as a I actually proposed this on the Geek Box. Do you think this could subtly be a way to bring a group of people into a movie that may or may not have a direct interest in the movie, but having tattoos being such a strong, prominent part of the promotion of the major villain of it?
Well, tattoo artists are constantly barraged with comic book
I know,
stuff.
I
They
know.
read it a little bit. I mean, they're not diehard. Some of them are diehard, but, you know.
But what I'm saying is, do you think this could be a nice kind of, hey, let's broaden the... Let's broaden our fandom a little bit. We're not going for comic nerds.
Let's get some of the hardcore weekend
people.
Warriors.
Yeah. Let's go to some people with tramp stamps and people with bikers, and let's get a different crowd in for this.
No,
movie
I think that I mean, it's just going to depend on Leto's performance of the Joker if it works for his representation, because I couldn't see Heath Ledger's Joker being tattooed.
No, not at all. Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Like, I couldn't see Jack Nicholson's Joker being tattooed, but Joker has been tattooed in the comic books.
Sure.
So, and the version that we've gotten of that is I've enjoyed it. So I'm curious to see where they go with it.
Toby, quick thought on the Joker.
It was creepy looking. Let's go there.
I think it was the Jaws teeth.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the tattoos don't bother me. What bothers me, what the tattoos are.
Yeah, they're a little awkward.
The Joker going ha 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 on his entire body.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the old 80s and 90s stickers where you have Batman, Joker, and they just wanted to fill the sticker sheet and they put ha ha ha. And,
Right.
And weird Joker smiles, and if you ended up one of those, you don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So it kind of reminds me of him putting that kind of stuff all over his body, which kind of like, to me, the Joker would either self-tattoo himself or put other creepy things on his body. So him doing a giant smile and doing ha-has doesn't really quite work for me. However, the gesture with the skull gesture, that I see the Joker doing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in between the middle there. But let's look where it's coming from. I mean, David Ayer and all his movies, they're all like inner city movies, harsh reality movies. For him to reimagine a Joker, I can totally see where this is coming from. Yeah. I mean, I totally see it. I mean, it might be different than what other people are thinking of it. Yeah. I can see this.
I know. I believe it was on the Geek Box we were talking about this. Ryan Scott mentioned that you have Jack Nicholson kind of being the crime boss, right? He is a mobster, right?
Kind of the classic old school mobster.
And then you get
where does
Heath
he
Ledger.
get such wonderful toys?
Heath Ledger's
he's a psychopath.
He's the anarchist.
Yeah, he's the hurricane versus a immovable object. Batman's the immovable object, and he's the I forgot.
Immovable force. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, and then the new, then this one is kind of the just the crazy one. That's the criminal crazy. This is another take on him. It's a very
Joker
different.
has. I mean, Joker.
Joker 2, especially in Dark Knight, was he's a very quiet character in a lot of those scenes for the Joker. Very introverted in a lot of those scenes. Very different than previous incarnations of the Joker.
The Batman, the animated Batman, Mark Hamill's. I mean, he's just goofy and off the top, and
very different.
But boom, like can change like that.
Yeah.
So it's I'm again curious to see how he's portrayed.
I mean, it could go either way. I mean, this could be a really loud Joker, wants to be on TV, wants to be seen, wants to be known.
Yeah,
so
right.
It really depends. I mean, maybe he. I mean, first of all, I don't even think he has those tats because I think they're digitally put on there.
Oh yeah.
Second of all, I mean, even if he does have those tats, if he does something with them, like something creepy, like with his arms and stuff like that, why not?
I could see him carving ha into his arm or whatever.
But that looked like it was tatted. But
carving it and then tatting it on.
It's the style, right? It's you can't have something that's that kind of street level, so on and so forth. Have something that's
like I said,
from an animated show for or the stickers.
Jester.
Yeah. Jester. Yeah.
I mean that made perfect sense to me. I can see him doing that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But the movie's like we haven't even seen a trailer yet.
Right.
Who knows, right?
But we're super excited for this movie.
All right. But then on Sunday, David Ayer did post the entire squad, including for Suicide Squad, the entire cast, as well as unknown characters. Some rumored, but nothing officially announced. So we have left to right, if you've seen the picture, Adam Beach's Slipknot, a character that will die in the opening 20 minutes of this movie. Slipknot in the comics was the one that said, "What exploding bracelet? You're not going to do anything to me." And then his arm explodes off his body. He will die in this movie. You have my promise. Okay? There's not a question. Jai Courtney is
going to be the one that survives.
He could be. Jai Courtney is Captain Boomerang, a like thug ass like tracksuit wearing Captain Boomerang. He
looks like a criminal from Australia.
He looks like a fucking scumbag. He looks amazing.
He looks like he would beat the shit out of you down under and anywhere else.
Yeah. Cara Delevingne as Enchantress, who looks creepy as hell.
That's dark. Like she looks like I like the look.
I do too. In the comics,
she's just like green and like
talked about this on
she's like a witch.
We talked about this on the Geek Box last night, so you'll hear it on Sunday. But
so you'll hear it here first.
Yeah, you'll hear it here first. Ryan Scott says the comic book Enchantress looks like she shops at like Spirit store. It's like a cartoon like witch costume, which is true. It's a goofy looking costume.
She shops once a year after Halloween to get everything at discount.
Creepy as hell in this. Karen Fukuura as Katana. Again, Katana never mentioned as being in this movie. She looks perfect. I mean,
that Price of the Batman and the Outsiders #1 just shot up.
Maybe. Joel.
She's also going to be on Arrow in that costume.
Yeah,
right. Same costume. Yeah. Joel Kinnaman.
Is this the same actress?
No,
different.
No. Joel Kinnaman is Rick Flag. He's a military dude. Looks like a military dude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, he's cool. I like that actor.
I don't know him, but he looks like Rick Flag.
If you've seen The Killing, he's phenomenal in that show.
Cool.
He was the new RoboCop in the new RoboCop movie.
Yeah.
And he would fit just perfectly into the David Ayer's world. I mean, he just kind of is that white guy, but with the kind of street level.
Yeah.
Kind of hoodlumish.
Yeah.
He would just. I just think it's a perfect fit.
Cool. Yeah. I'm going to skip the next character. Will Smith is Deadshot. I was really surprised. I really was like, I don't know. He looks great.
It's the mustache.
And
it's the fucking mustache.
I don't know about that mask, though. I feel like he's got like an underwear over his head.
That's kind of what it looks like in the comics.
I actually like
the white mask. Yeah,
I actually like the white mask versus going with kind of the silver mask because that's where he started. Like he had a very it was white.
Yeah,
originally
it was.
So,
yeah.
I like that it's kind of it pays tribute to that. It could, I mean, he has both eyes in this movie for now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Deadshot he's not. I mean, they've taken his eyes and
all you need to do is search Floyd Lawton and comic book art, and then Will Smith, just random pictures from Google, and the mustache, perfect.
Yeah. I cannot pronounce his name, so I'll call him Mr. Echo from Lost. It's Killer Croc, and he looks...
Wait, that was Killer Croc?
Yeah.
Not Goomba from Super Mario Bros?
Very similar.
I'm kind of bummed they didn't do King Shark.
Oh, that would have been better. But Killer Croc's cool, and I'm curious what their take on him. I mean, it doesn't look a lot like Killer Croc, but
he looks kind of like in between
Wasn't the original take of Killer Croc just a guy with crazy
scales?
Disease, and that's why he's Killer Croc, not an actual giant monster.
Right.
And but this one looks like a cross between the two. Yeah, like he looks big, but he also looks like he has.
Yeah.
So for Mr. Echo to quit Lost to go into real acting, he's really taken some real good roles for his acting career.
Yeah, exactly. Jay Hernandez is El Diablo, again, someone not ever mentioned.
He was in the 52.
No. But I mean, El Diablo, not announced for this movie. He
wasn't.
Is this the tattoo guy? I mean, he was in a bunch of movies basically as the same character because he, in real life, doesn't he have those crazy tattoos?
I don't know.
I think it's him because he was in that Keanu Reeves samurai movie.
Okay.
It's just this crazy actor that really has those tattoos.
Really?
Yeah. No, I think it's him. I'm not sure. I should have looked it up before I started recording this.
I don't know. It's possible. If there's a second character that's dying in this movie, it's El Diablo.
I don't know. El Diablo did pretty well in the New 52. It was. I know, he had a decent character.
But of all these characters, Slipknot and El Diablo. But of course, the big one, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
What did you just call her?
Margot Robbie.
Okay.
I know, it almost sounded like Mario.
Yeah,
Mario Robbie. I think it was like.
Whoa,
I think it was just. It kind of did not roll off my tongue properly. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think she looks amazing.
When they casted her, I already knew it. That was it.
Yeah.
It was just like a perfect casting job as far as you can go, yeah.
I think she looks awesome. And again, she looks similar enough to the style they showed of the Joker. I feel like that that is a pair that looks well together.
But she's not wearing her costume.
If you think... I love the Bruce Timm costume. Love it.
It's a great costume.
If you think that would look good in real life in a movie, you're an idiot. It would look terrible.
Okay, the Harley Quinn DC statue that came out a few years ago, where she's in the New 52 costume and she's stepping on the old costume.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like these characters kind of have to transition, and Harley Quinn's character. I mean, the New 52 did a great job. Especially if you read the Harley Quinn issue where you figure out why she's dressing like that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Here's what I think people forget, and here's what comic book fans forget. What is the most famous version of Harley Quinn?
I mean,
one.
No.
Really?
Arkham.
Yep, it's the Arkham.
The Batman Arkham games.
It's the
toss-up between the well-known version of Harley Quinn, hands down.
Yeah, it's a toss-up.
Absolutely,
it's a toss-up between the nurse costume from Arkham Asylum and a bunch
of old people like us know the Batman animated series,
and the other one from the Arkham City.
A bunch of old people like us have seen the Batman animated series, and I'm sure a number of kids have as well. People know that costume. But if you were to ask on the street, what does Harley Quinn wear? You are going to get the costume from Arkham, because that's what people...
It's also the one that works the best in reality.
Exactly. That's what people know. I'm not saying the old costume's bad. I love it. Do I think the old costume's better? I absolutely do. Does it work in reality? Would it work in a movie? Not in a million years.
Also in reality, if you're a villain or a bad person, would you really have a costume?
No,
like,
that's a one piece.
Yeah, right. I mean,
with some flair.
Things like rob the bank and kill some people. Hold on, let me put my costume on first.
And none of these people really have costumes in this, and they are, and if you take their costumey elements, they're just kind of. These are also all very low rent villains. This is not Lex Luthor with a power armor suit.
No, these are people that stole most of their merchandise off the shelf.
Yeah, these are extreme D-list characters that don't have. They're not Luthor. They're not Kingpin. These are
so interesting though.
Oh, they're great. I was a little worried. I am. Not even
literally
not a worry in the sky right now.
This movie story wise could suck balls, but it'll look amazing.
Dude, the minute they added David Ayer to that, I mean that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, every movie he's done so far that he's either written or directed is really solid. Whether people like it or not, they've been solid movies though. Some of them are pitch fucking dark though.
Yeah.
I think he did the movie Harsh Times. Is one of those movies that gets you so depressed and makes you want to go shoot people afterwards or yourself. But it was a hell of a movie though. I mean,
so don't go see this if you own a concealed gun permit.
Right, I'm sorry. There's a very good chance you didn't hear Toby for much of the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes that he was talking. You probably heard him a little bit in the background. Hopefully,
did you accidentally swipe him down?
No, it wasn't on. Hopefully you could hear him talk, though.
Oh, jeez.
I'll go back and I'll up your parts of the last 5 minutes. 10 minutes you've been talking.
10 minutes? He's been off for like almost 15.
We'll figure it out.
Whatever.
But it picks up from the other mics, too, so hopefully it's okay. Sorry, Toby.
That's all right.
It's because you weren't here, so I had it off, and then I didn't turn it on when you sat down. Anyway, yes, I'm
excited. I'm stoked.
I'm so fucking excited for this.
Now, they're almost done? Did they wrap, or are they almost done wrapping?
No, they just started.
They just started, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, their costume design, all that stuff's just done.
There's also rumors of Bruce being on set, and what's his name?
Ben Affleck
on set.
Yeah.
So who knows? Yeah. I'm excited.
Real quick, do you want to thank everyone that came up for Free Comic Book Day?
Yes.
Which was this last Saturday. Huge success.
Yes.
Sales were up 10%, which is impressive. Attendance was probably up the same.
I think next year we're going to have to pace the line.
It paces itself with people looking. I mean, I think we had a good flow early. We
didn't have a good flow initially, but once the
first group got through,
it got better.
Yeah, I mean, I saw
because people actually listened to me going, "Go that way."
Yeah. It was a good group. We didn't have any real problems. It did take 25 minutes before the first person tried to walk out a door with a stack of books from the wall. It wasn't actually. They're like, "Oh, everything is free." It happens at least once a year, and it took 25 minutes this year. Some years it's been less. Some years it actually happened at the end of the day. We had a ton of artists outside. Lane has been in this podcast. Leanne, my fiance, hopefully you remember her. Her friend Lane, they were out there drawing.
We had the lanes.
Yeah. Our friend Raphael was here. Toby was here drawing. Toby, who doesn't think he's that good of an artist, but everyone took everything he did.
Well, no, I screwed a couple people up. I need to have done the pieces before, so one dude came up to me and was like, "Can I get Lex Luthor in the power suit?" I've never done that before. So I'm like, I'll be honest, I've never done it, and I don't like people without masks because it hides all my flaws. So I drew him like the girliest possible Lex Luthor ever because he's a bald dude. I'm like, where I put all my lines? So it was the girliest, most feminine looking Lex Luthor in a power suit. I felt really bad. I actually told him like he doesn't have to take it, but he took it. I think, anyways.
Just tell him it's from like the all women multiverse.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but yeah, I'm sorry, man. It was fun though.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
And we had the Bay Area Artists Unite, which Lane, who's been on this podcast before, it's his art group, so they were out here drawing. So big thanks to those guys. A lot of fun.
Thanks to Chipotle for the lunch.
Oh yeah. Before we go and read a couple questions, I got a few good ones here on Twitter. We're going to thank a few people from Patreon, and it's actually the start of the month, so we got a bunch of people to thank. I especially want to thank Albert Soy and Julian Titus with the Nerds of the Pants podcast at pixelbit.com. That's pixelbit.com. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for your top-tier donations.
Thanks, guys.
We also want to thank Shane Neary, Edgar Moreno, Kevin Nguyen, David Chica, Joshua Cruz, Wesley Thon.
Still no relation, right?
No relation to
Abar
Thon, I don't think.
Well, at least he's protected if the reverse flash comes.
That's correct. Cross Zanau. Scott Zanau. That's Cross X Hunter on Twitter and forums.
What the?
Yeah. Mike Campbell, David Safar, Brandon Meyer, Christopher Noyes, who you've heard in the Geekbox, Alex McHale, Joel Jimenez, Armando Testani, Ivan Leskanik, and Jason Thomas. So a couple new names in there. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Everyone, if you want to support us, patreon.com/Comic Conspiracy. Send us a little bit of cash. Good stuff. Since Bryce is in here, I got a couple questions to read.
Let's do it.
Bryce, man.
One on Twitter is from Matt that says, was I the only one really confused by New Avengers number 33? No. I had the last three. Toby, have you read any of the New Avengers? Like, Avengers or New Avengers? Like, are you going to read Secret Wars?
Toby and I aren't. You're answering this question, Toby and I aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I just picked it up. I'll definitely read Secret Wars.
Okay.
But
you need to read the Zero first.
The Zero was we're getting more of the Zero. You don't have to. It recaps. The Zero is a recap.
Yeah, but it helps.
It does help, but there's some.
I'm a big fan of the original too.
Oh, this is much different.
Oh.
So, I've had my words about Hickman on and off, and I liked it, and I go back and forth a little bit, and I've tried to stay current, but I had fallen a couple issues back on both Avengers and New Avengers. We got a preview copy of Secret Wars.
I'm starting to see why you're happy that Bryce is not here to answer this question.
We got a preview copy of Secret Wars last week, which I did read, but I figured before I read that, I should read. We also got
time runs out.
We also got from Slippin' Jimmy. Asks, had I read Secret Wars #1?
Saul is here?
Yeah, Better Call Saul. So I figure I'd answer both of these briefly here at the end of the episode. We'll do bigger spoilers on Secret Wars next week, but I'll give you a little preview here. I really want to like Avengers. I loved Hickman's FF, but his Avengers just never clicked with me. They're not the Avengers. It's
you can
space,
swap anybody out with
the dialogue is right. Completely like I never care who's talking. It never makes sense. It's always the same person. The dialogue is interchangeable among characters. I never understand why things are happening, and I understand Morrison books. I just don't understand Hickman's writing.
And it's funny because I didn't like his Avengers starting, so I didn't carry on with it. But I've really enjoyed like Hickman's East of West. I've really enjoyed his The Dying and the Dead.
Yeah, you like that. You like East of West. East of West didn't click with me either. But I mean,
I kind of wish Bryce was here. You guys would have a shouting match.
Oh, Bryce will have a lot to say. He'll be on in a week or two, and he's already told me he's got a lot to say
because he has his list. Right, we're gonna have
podcast
to go over
he listens to.
list.
He writes down notes.
But for me, so I read back and read Avengers, and
He's just writing down. I hate Higgins.
I read the last 3 issues of Avengers, and that was a struggle. Unlike one I've had.
Did you finish them?
I did.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I don't care what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but at least I got through this. It's a bunch of nonsense. Whatever. I said, at least New Avengers has been the better of the 2 series. Let me read this. I've liked elements more in New Avengers. The stuff with Black Panther and Namor has been cool and all this stuff. I'm going through, and I'm halfway. So I was 3 issues back in New Avengers as well. So I sat down to read them.
New Avengers.
Not a clue what the fuck was going on. Not a clue.
I don't think Marvel knows what's going on.
So I just flipped through basically the last 3 issues. The last issue, 33. I was looking. I mean, I tried to read it. I saw Doom was in there. I saw the Molecule Man was in there. He was talking to the Beyonders, which are something else, that not the Beyonder. I don't know. But, man, I'm very sorry, Bryce. I tried, man. I tried. I can't make heads or tails of what's going on in that book. Now, that said, the Secret Wars #0 Free Comic Day issue is mostly garbage because it's just a recap of what's happened.
But if you haven't read any of it,
right,
like me, I'm going to go and read that before I read Secret Wars.
But here's the thing. It mentions nothing about any of the shit that I read in the last like 6 months.
6 months with the time runs out garbage?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All it has to do about is the incursion stuff. And that recaps that. So, that said, I read Secret Wars #1. That has nothing to do with any of the things that's been happening in Avengers and New Avengers. It only has to do with the incursion stuff. I have no clue what any of this time runs out bullshit has had to do with anything. The only thing I could think of is Doom is kind of the bad guy that they've been looking after.
Doom's a bad guy?
Yeah, and this time runs out stuff. I got that, and I think Doom is more responsible for the incursions in some fashion. But I don't exactly know. It's kind of hinted.
How is he doing this stuff? Because isn't the incursion coming from the Infinity Gems in the Gauntlet?
I don't know. It's hinted at the end of the issue that Doom is involved in some fashion. Because the end of Secret Wars #1, this is not a spoiler because Marvel has said this publicly. The end of issue #1 is the Marvel Universe and Ultimate Marvel Universe, the last 2 universes, smashing into each other and being destroyed. We'll get into more of the specifics about it next week after everyone's had a chance to read it and Charlie's back and everything, because I'm sure he'll have a lot to say. But Secret Wars 1, better than the last couple issues of Avengers. I'll just it's #1 is much a setup issue, very much a setup issue.
Now, do you feel it's setting up a good story?
Well, it ends the Marvel universe. It doesn't set up anything. It ends everything.
But that's a setup in itself.
But here's the thing. All these Marvel What If minis or stuff that's coming up, and again, we'll talk about this more next week because we're going to wrap up here in a second. It doesn't set up any of that. I still have no idea how any of this stuff happens.
What Battle World is, what War Zones is. Yeah, that's what I figured.
No clue. So, if you're a big Marvel fan, if you like the big events, Secret Wars comes out this week. Go grab it. It's if you loved Avengers, if you loved Hickman's stuff, I mean, it's cool. There's very cool stuff in this issue of Secret Wars. It didn't blow me away, but
was the dialogue interchangeable in Secret Wars?
No, and that's the thing. I feel the dialogue was way better. Okay. I don't know what it is. I felt like someone at Marvel came down and said, "Hey, Hickman, nobody understands a fucking word you're writing. Dumb it down, please. Please. We don't care if you make no sense in Avengers. dumb it down for the big event because we have to sell a shitload of this comic. I totally believe this is what's happening. I'm not a smart man. I'll cop to that day and night. I can't make heads or tails of what he's talking about in Avengers and New Avengers. Secret Wars made much more sense.
Yeah.
So if you've been baffled by New Avengers or Avengers like I have,
well, maybe that was the thing. He was putting so much of his attention on writing Secret Wars that the 6 month time runs out was basically him going, I got to write these books too. Oh, I'll just write something. Don't even care.
Yeah.
Another question?
I got one last question here. I think Toby will have something to say about this because he's such a big art guy. It's from Scott on Twitter. He says,
because I'm a dark eye?
Who we've been having an art guy.
Oh.
Brock, you should check the forums. There are no less than 3 different threads talking about how great Man of Steel is all concurrently.
Whatever. Nobody cares.
Scott's on the receiving end of this conversation, but he does have a question here for the podcast. He's a fan, even though he disagrees with me constantly.
Yeah.
He says, what's a comic where you really love the writing but hate the art? I want to know Toby's answer to this because Toby's an art guy.
Really hate the writing but love the art?
No, love the writing.
Love the writing but hate
the art. Because I only know of a couple books that I know you've said you don't like the art on, but the story was so good. And I may even be wrong about one of them.
She-Hulk, the new one?
The new one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll agree with you on that one.
That has some of the worst art. It has some great art, but it had some of the worst art I've seen in a published Marvel or DC comic.
I'm trying to think.
I thought you didn't like the art in 100 Bullets.
Well, that's a problem. See, with Sin City and 100 Bullets, once you start reading it, the art fits the story. Therefore, I start liking the art.
All right, okay.
But if you just look at pictures, I probably wouldn't have gone for 100 Bullets originally. But once I start reading it made perfect sense and it fits it.
You've told us before that you didn't like Sin City for years.
I didn't. I hated Sin City for years. But once reading it, I actually appreciated the art.
Right.
So there's a huge difference there. Where I love the story but hate the art. It's so tough, man. I'll think of this and I'll respond next week.
For me, it was there was a segment in the Dan Abbott and Andy Lanning Guardians where they changed.
There was some questionable art there.
Where they changed to that cartoon art towards the end of that run, and it's just like, what the fuck? Yeah. And it literally. I'm sitting there reading this really good story, going, I cannot look at this book.
I mean, honestly. If the story is really good, I think I almost forgive the art at one point or at some point.
That's my answer.
Yeah, because I mean, it's hard for me to just think of something which usually comes pretty easy.
Well, is there a point where, because I know I had this with Johns' and Romita's Superman, is that I love Johns, but that art took so much away from that story.
Well, here's the problem with me
it hindered it.
If the art is so bad and so hideous I really, really hate it, I probably will not read it. I mean, I'll just never get there.
Yeah.
I'll look at it, I'll try, but I will just stop. Yeah, so the art has to be somewhat there.
Because it's hard to read a book you don't want to look at.
I unfortunately read lots of books where I hate the art. I'm just at the end of the day, art is a very important part of comics, but not the reason I read them. So when art's great, I love it. When art's bad, when it's mediocre, I just ignore it.
Well, it's when it's kind of the house style, right? Where it's kind of there's this blanket.
Like that arc of She-Hulk, I was like covering up panels and just reading the balloons. I'm like, I'll just ignore this. So yeah, that's one of the worst recent ones. But I mean, mediocre art is all over the place, and it's so hard. So much. You get these books where they have 12 different artists over 8 issues or whatever, and it's just tough. It's going to happen. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, everyone. Toby, I'm going to make sure your audio recorded all. I can hear you on here. I just don't know that it recorded properly, so I'm very sorry if you missed part of Toby's conversation, but we'll try to up that audio so everything works out okay. So hopefully you didn't notice anything. But this episode and all our previous episodes available at geekbox.net. Go
or on iTunes.
Of course, and on iTunes. And please, unless you're... I don't want to say it.
Do it.
If you hate us, don't review us on iTunes unless you used to be a former customer of ours. Then review us on iTunes because it's really funny.
Now, I know that there's a 1-star review of us on iTunes from somebody.
Yeah.
please let iTunes and other people know that review was not helpful,
not accurate.
Accurate.
Downvote that recent 1-star recording.
I thought it was very helpful, so I liked it.
I find it helpful. But please review us on iTunes. We don't get we get a decent amount of reviews on iTunes, but not a ton recently. So go on there and throw us some reviews.
Because iTunes, if people if there's more likes, then iTunes might list us a little bit higher.
It bumps them up higher and everything.
Then more people listen.
People find the podcast. Always fun. Forums at geekbox.net and the Geekbox Facebook group. Go there to talk to all our people about all this crap that we talk about.
And apparently 3 threads of Man of Steel.
Yes.
Love.
That's awesome.
Digital.
Wait, is it Pro Man of Steel or
Pro Man of Steel?
Yay!
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Take that, Brock.
Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. Go there and buy some digital comics from us. Patreon.com/comicconspiracy.
Wait. Take that, Omar.
Yeah.
Take that, Bryce, man.
And donate some money to us.
I'm not going to live till tomorrow.
Spiritofbrock.com, that's Brock's blog. Go there and watch his video pull lists and interact with him on there. The Infinite Longbox podcast and Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension, that's Charlie's other podcasts. You'll be on there probably tonight because this car is broken.
Oh, really?
Probably can't leave his house. Yeah, it's car trouble. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Do you know my friend's wife had car trouble and she drove through a store. She couldn't stop. She has one of the...
that is trouble.
Yeah, the brake stopped working. It was one of those electric cars.
The Toyota ones?
No, it was a Kia, and it just stopped working, and she drove straight into a store. So she showed me this picture. Half the cars on the outside of the store, the other half on the inside.
That's terrifying.
And then Kia, of course, no, of course our shit won't dysfunction.
On Twitter, I'm Ryan Higgins Ryan. Brock is Brock Sager, Larson Bryce. That's Bryce Larson. Toby's Toby XI, and Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Listen to Geekbox, Comedy Button, Good Job Brain, the L Talk podcast. So there are other podcasts on our little network. So go check those guys out. And I think we're done.
No, we're not.
We're not.
No, we're not.
What's up?
Did you already stop recording?
No, I did not.
All right, good. Because next week is book club time, isn't it?
Should have been this week, but because other people aren't here and stuff, yes, next week is book club pick. So go read GTO Volume 1.
Yes.
It's cheap
Do
on
not watch the anime. Read the book.
Cheap on Amazon. Different. Yeah, used copies cheap on Amazon if you can't find it. Unfortunately, the book is out of print, Toby. So you've
broken the vow.
The one rule of book club.
That's all right.
Don't pick an out of print book, but it's fine.
It's a phenomenal book, so I'm allowed to break the rule.
Next week we'll talk about that, and Charlie should have his pick next week as well.
Excellent.
So, all right, we'll see everyone next week.